the fight, yeah, bring on all the lightning. 'Cause I'm looking for a hero. Look inside the mirror, I find one. Oh, carry the hurt when it gets too hard.
Coming from a history of abuse, one of the things that I began to deal with, my first biggest obstacle, I would say, was dealing with rejection. Coming from abuse, my mother denying that the abuse happened, or not even denying, but refusing to accept the reality that the abuse had actually happened, and denying me began to make me deny myself. And I would say that the first of many obstacles or things that I had to learn to overcome was dealing with rejection. Being told that I wasn't being truthful caused me to look at myself, and living in a household where I had to grow up on a daily basis acting as if nothing happened, that psychologically, I had to mentally tell myself that on a day-by-day basis, this is what it is. This is what it is, and this is what it's going to be. And that triggered rejection, the root of rejection in my life. Feelings of not fitting in, feelings of not being enough, feelings of not going anywhere, not having anything. Isolation. When you deal with rejection, being told that you don't fit in, being made to feel as if you don't fit in, being made to feel as if you don't belong or you're not good enough, those are all my definitions of rejection. And what does that look like? A lack of self-esteem, a lack of self-accountability, a lack of self-acceptance. And it just trickles down from the mental to the physical, causing myself to think that I didn't look the part. It must be me. It must have been something that I've done, or something that I'm not doing. I'm not good enough. I'm broken. And rejection within itself does all of these things. I can recall times to further isolate me. I can recall times when I would be left at home alone because of my speaking up and saying that the abuse had happened, and my family basically telling me that it didn't happen. Times of them going out. I remember one night in particular, my mom and my stepdad and my sister coming home from dinner. They had left me there, left me at home, and decided to go out as a family to enjoy dinner. And I wasn't invited. And at the time, I was probably about maybe 13 or 14 years old. And I am already dealing with rejection of being told it didn't happen. And so now I'm being made to feel the repercussions of speaking up. I am not being embraced. I am not being shown love. I'm not being shown acceptance. I am being punished for being honest. And this was all led by my stepfather. Because when my mom did approach him and ask him if the abuse had in fact taken place, of course it was denied. And the denial wasn't enough. The price to pay for me was to prove that not only was she not telling the truth, and not only are we going to reject you, but we are going to treat you, we are going to punish you and treat you in this manner to show you what happens when things like this happen. So the psychological abuse of that all. So this night in particular, they go out to dinner and they come back home and they're laughing and they're happy. And my sister, who's 3 years younger than me, At the time, all of the time and the energy went towards the good child. This is what a good child looks like, and this is the reward of being a good child, and this is the reward of not speaking about these negative things, and this is going to be your punishment. And so the mental isolation permeated into physical isolation on my family's part. It just further messed with my mind and further told me even more that, Takiya, you're not good enough. Takiya, there's something wrong with you. Takiya, you're not worthy of our time and our attention or our affection and our love. And this began to just set the stage for who I thought I was, who I thought I should be, which in essence was nothing and no one. Rejection turned into isolation. I became very secluded. I did not have the best of relationships, even as I matured from my youth into my adulthood. I learned that being alone was better than being with people. And this is not how God intended us to be. This is not how God creates relationship with humans. He intends for us to have companionship, and he intends for us to communicate, and he intends for us to have people in our life that will do things that encourage us and empower us. But I went through my youth and my adult life thinking that I was better alone, because if I'm alone and I don't let people in, then no one can hurt me. And for most of my adult life, that was my mentality. That was my mindset, that isolation is the way. Now, I will tell you, one of the most powerful things that resulted from my isolation was the only one being or form that I could believe in and learn to trust was God. God was my refuge and is. God was my source. He was the source of my strength. I remember feeling that, God, I don't know if you're real, but I believe that you are. And if you are, I'm going to find out, because I don't have anything. I don't have anyone. And so my isolating myself helped me to find my faith. But during this time, it was a process of learning myself, learning about Takiya, learning about understanding and recognizing the root of where rejection came from, and why I felt as if I didn't fit in, and why I felt as if I didn't belong, and why I felt like I wasn't enough. Self-esteem, how we view ourselves, how we look at ourselves, that's a path and a journey that also stemmed from the result of my childhood molestation and the abuse. Learning to look at myself in the mirror. We're talking about healing through the hurt. And even with this platform, even with this opportunity, even through all that I've shared and that I've gone through, healing is a process. Are we ever fully healed? HEALED? I don't know. But do we continue to work on our healing? Absolutely. And sharing my story and sharing pieces of it and parts of it has helped with the healing. But continuing to put my story out there as it ever evolves, it welcomes the healing. Talking through things, talking about things, learning to look at all of me, learning to look at every bit and piece of where I've come from has helped. Walking through day to day, giving myself the grace that God says that I can have to be all of Takiya. One of the things, the biggest message that I have in all of this is, even though my abusers, and my story doesn't start and stop with just my family. I'll visit the relationships. I'll visit the path that I've had to take myself. But I can sit here. One of the things I realize is that I can blame and I can fault everyone that hurt me all day long. I could choose to take my story and use it as a pity party, so to speak. I can use my story and I can justify being a hurt person who hurt someone. I can take my story and I can sit down and choose not to get up and let my story define who I am. Or I can turn it around and I can determine that I'm responsible for my healing, that I'm responsible, not my abusers, for my health and well-being, that I'm responsible for my growth, that I am responsible for finding purpose in the pain and using it for platforms like this right here. Learning all of this for me has been the most propelling, the most passionate, and the most purposeful impact for my own life. Healing through the hurt is something that we have to do the work, recognizing we have to do the work. We simply must do the work for ourselves because no one else is going to do it for us. Want more inspiration and encouragement? Join me next week, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Live, and hear more extraordinary women sharing their extraordinary stories. And be inspired with Takiya LaShawn. This episode of Inspired with Takiya LaShawn has been sponsored by The Brow Company, Beauty Bar, Makeup Studio, and Lash Spa, a Takiya LaShawn salon. The Brow Company specializes in exceptional lash, brow, and makeup artistry, natural nail care, full body and Brazilian waxing, laser liposuction, teeth whitening, hair shampoo and blow-dry styling, and more. The Brow Company has 2 locations in Bluffton, South Carolina, and on Ladies Island, and are open by appointment Monday through Saturday. Find out more and book your appointment today. Have a business, idea, nonprofit, organization, or event you'd like to talk about? Contact me today to find out more about my sponsor and affiliate partner program segments here on Inspired with Takiya LaShawn.
There was life before breast cancer and life after. And so right now, my journey is the after. Because I did my year of treatment, chemotherapy, mastectomy, reconstruction, continuing with targeted therapy. And I just completed my treatment. And so now I'm on to that next chapter of my life.
Carry the hurt when it gets too hard. Pick it up, dust it off.